Alrighty, we're back. Been a long time. I don't even know what to say. James, how's it going?
Just got over being sick. I could not feel. It's crazy. Like when you're sick for like 5 or 6 days straight, you like forget what it feels like to feel like a normal human, and I feel like $1 billion right now. It's amazing.
Yeah, so I guess we're gonna start things off. Obviously, though, I forgot my routine. It's been so long. Um, Welcome back to the Rambling Men Sports Podcast. Obviously, Shane and James. It's been a long time. When you called me, um, that I forgot how to do a screen record, and we are now trying out new things, and it's already annoying me with the speaker. It's I think it's coming on your end. It's already annoying me, but we're trying this on FaceTime for a change. No, I think it's not on. I meant on your end. Like I think I can hear myself talking.
It's like echoing.
Yeah, it's echoing and it's really throwing me off and annoying me. But we'll try. I'll run it. I'll talk softer. Um,
Try now.
no, yeah, that's a whole lot better. Yes.
I had something in like holding my phone up, and it was probably throwing it right back into the speaker.
Okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. But so anyway, my mind's all over the place. Um, we have been away. We have been absent, and we apologize for that for the lack of content. I have been swamped with grad school, and I mentioned it on the podcast at one point that I worried that it would affect our weekly stuff, and it did. And just I think we missed 1 week, and then I had an assignment to do. Then it was 3 weeks, and then I'm like, well, screw it. We might as well wait until the meat of my semester's over. And then it finally is, and I know you were busy with work, but we finally got it to align with our schedules, and it's good to be back, I'll say.
I don't think I've been on the podcast since I realized the Eagles are a terrible football team.
And we're going to talk about that. But hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving. But let's go ahead and dive right on into this. And we're going to start with the playoff rankings from last night, Tuesday. Not a ton of changes. Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame. So I forgot to mention, James was trying to channel his inner PFT commenter from Barstool Sports.
Matter of fact, I'm wearing these every show from now on.
You're going to wear them every show? He loves PFT. But so anyway, with the playoff rankings, Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame stay at the top three. Georgia bumps up to number 4. Oklahoma and Ohio State are at 5 and 6. The rest, who cares? At this point, it doesn't really matter.
I legitimately think they put Georgia at 4 for drama's sake, because they know that obviously them and Alabama are going to play, so everybody already freaking knows that either Ohio State or who's the other team? Or Oklahoma are going to get in over them if they lose. I mean, unless they play Alabama to like OT or something.
Yeah, I don't really know. My first reaction was maybe they did it just because, like, what if they beat Alabama? But even if they were at 5, I think they would jump Alabama or jump Oklahoma and get in the top 4 regardless. So I don't really know. I guess they just thought Georgia's resume was better. I disagree. I think Oklahoma has better resume. They beat better teams. Georgia hasn't really played anyone outside of LSU and Florida, and they beat Florida but lost to LSU. I think they might just be holding back Oklahoma just because of their defense. They put them at 5, and to where it's now like, hey, win and you're in pretty much, because I don't think Georgia's beating Alabama.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's beating Alabama. Yeah. Let me put that out there. I think if Clemson still had a more like at least a second-year starter under center, I think they'd have a much better chance, because they do have a very comparable team to an Alabama. But that kid's a true freshman. He can't be older than like 19 years old. So like I don't see him beating big bad Alabama on the big stage. Dude, I actually like Oklahoma. I know that I shouldn't be saying that. You can't put them in though, dude, because of that defense. I don't care. That is probably the most exciting option, and from an entertainment standpoint, like that's what the consumer wants to see. But like, I hate the notion. I don't know if you've been listening how they talk about, put the 4 best teams in, not the 4 best resumes. I think that's complete bullshit. because what's the point of even playing the games? You know what I mean? Like, there's not even a point. The best teams are going to go every single year. I think if West Virginia lucked out and we just went undefeated this year, like, we wouldn't have been one of the 4 best teams in the country. I don't think, even if we went undefeated. But you still had to put us in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you got to do 4 best resumes. Sometimes that's going to make for a really shitty game, and I think Notre Dame, Alabama, which is going to end up being 4-1, I think, is going to be terrible. I think Alabama can beat them by 50 points. They could score on them at will and stop them at will. But you can't not put in an undefeated Notre Dame. I hate when people say that Notre Dame shouldn't go or they're over. They won the game. They won every game. You cannot not put that team in there.
No. I'm agreeing with you. And there are points of this season I said that I thought Notre Dame was the real deal. The last month or so, they've kind of been up and down. I would still put them in there, but I think you got to give it to them. But the last few weeks, I don't know, man. They don't look great.
I don't think they're on par with those other teams, but I do think they're a really good team. But I mean, I think we'd have a shot against them, to be honest with you.
Right now, I think so. But we were just talking about this. Yeah, I'm with you. Right now, I'm not seeing anyone beating Alabama. Clemson probably has the best chance. I don't see Notre Dame giving them a game. Georgia might make it a little entertaining this weekend, but I don't see a rematch in the playoff unless Georgia wins. Oklahoma is one team I think that could sneak up on them, but hear me out, only because I think Alabama would have to play Oklahoma's game, and that's just, you got to score.
Don't get me wrong. I like I said, I do think from that perspective, but I do think that Alabama's defense would have a much better time shutting down Oklahoma than vice versa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Tua could play with his right hand.
Yeah.
And I think they'd score 50 points.
I agree. I was talking with my boss about this, and he's from Alabama like me, an Alabama fan, and he said he legitimately thinks this Oklahoma offense would score 40 points on Alabama.
No, they would.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think they'd score 60 on them, though.
Oh, yeah. I think so, too. I think he said it'd be like a 55-45 game, and I'm like, yeah, I think that would be the score in a heartbeat.
Tua only had one chance this whole year to even play a full game, and he threw 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, he's unbelievable. Dude, if he played a full quarters and, was really okay, I really got to go try to score every time, I really think they could score 70 points on almost any team.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous. 10 touchdowns. I'm dead serious.
And we haven't even touched up on Ohio State. Very convincing win over Michigan. I was a little surprised. I thought the committee would put them at 5, and they put them at 6.
I was definitely surprised that they scored that many points and won by that much, but I knew Ohio State was going to win that game. I'm a big John Harbaugh fan, but he's playing old school football, and that stuff works against other Big Ten teams, but it's not going to work against athletes with Haskins tossing piss missiles all over the field. So I knew that was going to happen. I really did. They had a better quarterback, and they were at home. That's what I always look at.
Yeah, he's going to have to, I think, find a way, kind of like what Saban has done. Saban used to be that kind of offense, just hand it off, and then, get your quarterback to throw it on 3rd and short, get the first down. He's going to have to adjust because the game is changing, and Saban has realized that. Alabama's playing a whole lot more up-tempo. Even under Jalen Hurts, they were doing that. So I think if Michigan's going to be successful, they're going to have to do the same, and maybe they thought they were going to do that, and Shea Patterson just wasn't that kind of player. But
he's not even close to as I thought he was.
Yeah, I didn't either. I mean, and I come off as an SEC hater, but I think you got to really look at that because he was really good in the SEC. He goes to the Big Ten, and he's not the same player. Now, granted, it is a new system in his first year, so I can see that, but I don't know.
That excuse don't work in college.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Dude, you don't get that many years to play in college. You can't be like, oh, I need a practice year. It's not the NFL. You got to go play. You got to know this shit right away. So, I don't know. Honestly, man, I got a little detached from college football this year. West Virginia pissed me off so bad with that Oklahoma State loss. I swear to God, I was never going to watch them again.
Yeah, you were texting me during the game, and I was like, shut up with your fucking negativity.
Obviously, I watched, the Oklahoma game. I wasn't even that disappointed because ultimately, that's pretty much exactly what I expected.
I didn't expect Oklahoma to score twice defensively. I mean, that was the difference in the game.
Yeah, but as far
if you had told me we would have held Oklahoma's offense to 45 points, I would be like, we're going to win that game then. And we didn't.
Shane, I knew in that Oklahoma State game when we were still up 17 points that we were going to lose that game. I'm telling you right now.
I didn't. I thought the game was over. I really did.
I said, dude, we're going to lose this game. Every time their quarterback threw a pass, it was like a 25-yard completion, and for some reason we forgot how to play offense second half. First two drives, I was just like, yeah, dude, this is done. Like, you could tell Dana's going to put it on coast, and he's not going to score enough points second half.
To be fair, I don't think it was Dana.
I didn't put it on Dana. I'm just saying, like, I knew that, and it just pissed me off, dude.
Yeah, this is why I texted you today, because our offensive coordinator, Jake Spavital, left to be the head coach of Texas State. And I said, I don't think this hurts that much. This is why, because that Oklahoma State game, we couldn't do shit in the second half. We were struggling to get those 10 points in the second half. 3 of them were a gift because Oklahoma State muffed the punt inside their own 20-yard line. So,
Ohio State does it every year. There's always a game you lose that you shouldn't lose, and I'm tired of losing those, dude. I don't mind losing to Texas. I don't mind losing to Oklahoma. Yeah, I want to win those games, but, like, we cannot. I don't care. Can't tell you how many freaking people told me Iowa State's pretty good. Fuck that. We should not have lost to Iowa State. And you know what? Beating Oklahoma State in Stillwater is really, really hard, but we were up 17. That's bullshit. We should have been undefeated going into that Oklahoma game, and it wouldn't even have mattered. We could have lost that shit and still went to the Big 12 championship.
I agree, man.
He didn't do it with that team. That was the best team we've had, and I don't know when we're going to have a team that good again. And that doesn't mean anything. You can win the Big 12 on a random-ass year.
Yep. That's
going to be the best team we're going to have for the next 10 years. I'm going to tell you that right now. We had David Long everywhere on defense.
Okay.
Offensive line, 4 wide receivers deep, good tight end, best quarterback in the country, 3 running backs deep. Fuck that.
Let me tell you about something about David Long. I love David Long. He just won Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year today. But I'm not sure there's a player in the country that is as good as he is that also misses as many assignments as he did. He looked lost sometimes, and he was still pretty good. But I hear you, man. After that Oklahoma game, I wasn't even mad about the loss because I expect to lose to Oklahoma every year now. But I'm just like, man, we had Will Grier, David Sills, and the best we could do was 8-3. I mean, that's what hurt me the most.
And you know what? Some colleges would kill to go 8-3. They would kill for that shit. Even some big name colleges. But you know what? That's just not good enough this year. It's not. I'm not happy with the season. I told you this thing, and it was in no way, shape, or form hating on Will Grier. I think he's a beast. I hope he goes somewhere outside the NFC East so I can pull for him his whole career. We didn't get anything out of his era. You were like, I'm gonna miss the Will Grier era. It was nothing. We didn't get anything out of the Will Grier era. We didn't even get a New Year's Six bowl. He got hurt last year. It wasn't his fault. He played his ass off this year. I'm not going to blame anything on him.
I said that to you the last 2 years. He played his ass off. It's just we didn't have a good enough defense.
Believe me, had nothing to do with him. I love that dude. He's awesome. He loves the state of West Virginia and the school. He's the man in my book. It's just, it kind of makes me sad because, like, the Geno Smith era, we won that Orange Bowl against Clemson, bro. Like,
yeah, and that's great. But we were in the Big East. We really wouldn't have gotten a bid if we didn't have that tie-in through the Big East.
Beat the shit out of Clemson.
No, I hear you, man. But we wouldn't have been in that game if it weren't for the Big East tie-in.
But those teams were just as good as this team. That team was just as good as this team.
No, this team was better than that team.
Big East or not.
Yeah. This team was definitely better than that team.
Tavon was better than any player on either team in college, first of all. We had Bruce Irving at the time, who was...
Man, we could have used a Bruce Irving this year. We had no pass rush.
Yeah, I do think that is where we were lacking this year. I think that was... I don't know. It's hard to get D linemen to come to West Virginia. They don't want to go to WVU.
Just, our system is weird. Just the 3-3-5, not many kids like it. I don't know why.
We shouldn't be in the Big 12.
Nope. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the bullshit in the Big 12. I'm tired of getting Oklahoma and Texas favoritism. I'm tired of getting beat by Kansas because of Kansas favoritism in basketball. I'm tired of it. I want to go somewhere else.
We should be an ACC school. I think our style of play, I think we should be an ACC squad.
Yeah.
I thought Big Ten for a little. I don't think we could compete in the Big Ten. I think we could be a really good team every year in the ACC.
Yeah, because it's weak. They'd probably put us in the Coastal Division. We'd play the likes of Pitt, North Carolina, Virginia Tech. I mean, it would be pretty much us or Virginia Tech every other year out of that division. Maybe Miami.
And that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be freaking awesome.
I agree, man. Just this conference, I heard Matt Miller talking about it on his podcast, and he said just when you're going up against Oklahoma and Texas that get the best players in that area every single year, they're going to have the better athletes offensively, and that's what the conference is all about offense. And it's just hard to recruit. It's hard to beat teams who have those athletes offensively, and that's what it comes down to.
That's why we get into Florida so much, dude. We don't have those athletes that's why I said that's why I think we should be an ACC school, because we could pull the Maryland kids, we could pull the Pennsylvania, West Virginia kids, but we could also get all those that's where we pull from anyway. But I think we'd get an even bigger pull if we were in the ACC.
And I've talked about this with my brother. We don't recruit Florida anymore, and I think just we had so many. Remember, you know how many head cases we had from South Florida in recent years? Jovan Durant was one of them. Like, that dude looked like a baller, even though he was a twig out there. He transfers away. Then we had to deal with Mike Harley, who was committed to us for a long time. Then he starts this whole thing with Miami. Then we said, fuck off, go to Miami. We don't give a shit. And we just quit recruiting that area. So
yeah, that's good, because we were getting some good players from down there.
Yeah, we were. I mean, that's where Geno Smith and Stedman Bailey came from. We're done, apparently. We're done with that area.
Yep.
At least the South Florida area. North Florida, like the Jacksonville area, I think we're still recruiting. But it's not the same. But anyway, so let's move on. Which team deserves the last spot in the college football playoff? Georgia, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and I threw in UCF just for you.
One, I love UCF. Two, I'm telling you right now, if Mackenzie Milton was healthy, you are not going to tell me for 1 second that UCF isn't like a top 6 team in the entire country. People act like because they play a bad schedule that they're not good. They beat the shit out of everyone that they play, though. They beat Auburn last year in their bowl game. Mackenzie Milton could be if he was on another team, he'd be a Heisman candidate. He's had like 90 touchdowns in the last 2 years. God bless him. He just got so hurt. He's like done. They said he might lose his leg and shit, or he not lose his leg. He lost blood flow to his leg for like 2 hours. You can literally lose.
I did see that he had nerve damage. I ran it in our paper that he had nerve damage.
And like you just said, Florida has athletes, man. I'm telling you right now, they got some players at UCF because they just come out of nowhere. There's players that you never really hear of. Maybe they went to smaller schools or whatever, like high schools or whatever. But dude, UCF. Let me put it this way too: UCF could beat Notre Dame. Not like I would pick them to win. I think they'd win that game 4 times out of 10.
Right now, I think that's a fair statement. I mean, I don't really trust Notre Dame right now.
They beat a really good Auburn team with NFL talent all over it last year.
Yeah.
And you know what? They put out some NFL players last year. They put out Mike Hughes. They put out, obviously, Shaquem Griffin. Then they put out another wide receiver, too.
Yeah, a few years ago. He hasn't panned out, but yeah.
I'm telling you. I like UCF. If I had to answer this question, I'd say it's Ohio State. I think they have the best chance of, like, competing with just athlete-wise. But they have to win the Big Ten championship, obviously, but...
Ohio State's a weird team. I was just about to say they're not good enough defensively, but neither is Oklahoma. But I actually heard part of my take talk about this. They said how Ohio State's the better team, but play one game and Oklahoma's going to win. Just because Ohio State's not good enough offensively. And their defense giving up those big plays. I think Kyler Murray would have a day. Now, play it out of 10 times, Ohio State probably would win 6 or 7 times. Or maybe it'd be split 5-5. But I'm going to go with Oklahoma.
Okay.
I don't think Georgia's good, and I said it before the year. I thought they'd be good. I didn't think they'd be as good as last year, and they're not. Jake Fromm's been great. They're pretty good offensively. They're not as good defensively. I mean, they're giving up some points, and I thought that would be the case. But they're still pretty damn good. They're going to get Sugar Bowl bid, likely. Nothing to complain about if you're a Georgia fan. UCF, You can make the argument with McKenzie Milton. I'm not quite on the UCF train like you. I do think they're a competitive team. I think they would give. They're probably going to get I think, Peach Bowl bid against Florida. I think if with Milton, I think they would win that game.
They would beat Florida.
Yeah,
there you go. That would be 2 SEC schools in a row that they beat. And you know what? I still don't think they have that bad of a chance of beating Florida because I'm not that sold on Florida, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not either. And I don't even know UCF's backup.
They always have athletes. They have a shitty quarterback, and they're badly coached every single year since Urban Meyer left.
Now, Dan Mullen's a different story, but I hear you.
There is no excuse that Florida should not be a top 5 program every single year. Same with Texas. It's so embarrassing that those programs have fell from grace. An idiot can go in there and recruit to those schools. I'm dead serious.
And then lastly,
you could walk into a Texas kid's school, a house, and do this, and they come to your fucking school.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not win the? Oh my God! Don't even get me started.
Well, I think Herman's riding the ship. Just it takes a little time.
Is their quarterback?
What's that?
Sam Ellinger is Texas's quarterback.
He's all right, man. I mean,
he's all right, man. You're gonna tell me you couldn't get some 5-star fucking stud from Texas to come play for the Longhorns?
Okay, I hear you, but
Ellinger isn't bad. He shouldn't be. He's not that good.
No, I think you're right. He probably shouldn't be a starter in the Big 12. I mean,
no, maybe for fucking Iowa State.
Yeah.
But like give me a break, dude. He's not that good. He throws for 200 yards and a pick a game. He's pretty good.
I'll tell you what, Brock Purdy at Iowa State is better than Ellinger.
They actually recruit pretty good quarterbacks at Iowa State. I just threw that out there. Probably shouldn't have said that.
No, but Purdy is this year. Purdy was the 3rd best quarterback in the Big 12.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you're Texas and you have the 4th best quarterback, maybe 5th best quarterback in the Big 12. Like, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, for real. But all right, so moving on, college football coaching carousel. So this was interesting because some of these schools have been popping up for destinations for our guy Dana Holgorsen. Colorado is very interested. I heard Louisville's going to try to go after him. Texas Tech is very interested, and North Carolina. And I scoffed at all of them. I was like, look, he's not going to Colorado. Colorado might as well be West Virginia West. It's mountainous, pretty much rural. It's close to Denver, but the state in general is pretty rural.
It's
not a great recruiting state. I mean, why would he go out west to Colorado when he has the exact same thing at West Virginia, and he's built a pretty solid program? Makes no sense to me. Louisville is pretty much West Virginia 2.0.
I agree.
Yeah, they're not any better of a program than us. Texas Tech can't compete in the Big 12 anymore. No, I shouldn't say anymore, but it's going to take a good coach. Like a really good coach.
This is how I feel.
And then North Carolina was the one school I looked at and I was like, they might be able to sway Dana. They got money. It's a nice area, good recruiting. He could start over down there. I was like, I could see it. Then they hired Mack Brown.
Return of the Mack.
And I was like, oh my God, what? Like, if I was a UNC fan, I'd be livid. I'm like, this is an attractive destination. Like, if I were a coach, I'd be interested in North Carolina.
Yeah,
but they go and hire Mack Brown, and apparently, according to my brother, apparently North Carolina really missed out on Dana Holgorsen because his brother lives in Charlotte, and he goes to visit there all the time.
Damn.
And I'm like,
oh, that's good for us.
Oh, I know. I'm like, oh, I'm glad because that was the one school I was a little bit worried about. But at the end of the day, I thought he would stay at West Virginia anyway. But I'm like, man, if they could throw some money his way, like I could see him leaving for North Carolina.
This is how I look at it. Yeah, I agree with you. That would be at least something I'd have to weigh my options on. Colorado, I would say there's literally a 0% chance. Colorado, there's nothing appealing about Colorado. They're not a storied program.
If this was if this was 20 years ago, yes, because they were really good in the 90s. But overall, like in the last 20 years, we're far superior of a program than Colorado.
And the Pac-12 is just not attractive to me. It's just not an attractive destination.
Outside of USC, Washington, UCLA, Stanford, that's it. Like, it's not attractive. Maybe Oregon. I'll throw in Oregon.
Louisville, like you said, I would say if I had to compare our school sports-wise to one other school in the country, I literally think I'd say Louisville.
And they've only been good like the last 20 years in every sport.
They're small. They're not from like, but yeah.
They're kind of like us. Like they've only been relevant in the last 20 years.
Exactly. They're always pretty good at everything. So I could see that, but also I don't see Dana going from fucking West Virginia to Kentucky. Like,
it's the same thing.
Exactly. It's just like you're going from
even as an institution academically, I think Louisville is a little bit better academics wise, but it's not a huge difference.
What does that mean to him? And then, like I said, Texas Tech as a school, no. The only appeal I can see from that is that you could recruit all those Texas kids and probably give a more athletic team. But like,
no, I don't. I mean, you're gonna have to go up against TCU, Gary Patterson. Texas. I don't think you're gonna get Oklahoma. No way.
If you're not a regular top 25 team, which is why I say Louisville would be the only one that I would say would be somewhat a trade, you're not leaving because we're a top 25 team every year. Yeah. So if you're not on par with that, what would he leave for? You're going to have to give him a better offer. I could see Dana going to like you said, like North Carolina. I could see Dana going to
that was the one spot, and it's not a better program, but they have the money. And we have money now in the Big 12, but they have more money. They got a stronger alumni base. They could throw some money at, a little bit extra money at him, and he'd be like, okay, I'll have to consider it. But these other schools can't match that. Maybe Louisville, but why go to Louisville when you can be at West Virginia? I mean, Georgia Tech, even Paul Johnson retired today. Georgia Tech, I don't think it's that appealing. I mean, it's an okay football program, but they've kind of been middle of the pack in the ACC the last few years. Yeah, it is Atlanta. I'm sure they have some money, and it's a strong recruiting base, but we're starting to recruit Georgia now too. I mean, again, I just don't see it being much of a difference.
Not either.
So NFL Week 12, we're going to get into our teams a little bit later. But I'd say the biggest storyline so far is probably the Dallas Cowboys. And I think in our last podcast, you're already putting up the hand. In our last podcast, I think we did together, we were laughing at them the entire time. But they're hot, man. They've won 3 in a row. 3 or 4 in a row.
3. Do me a favor. And let me preempt this.
I'm already laughing at what you have to say.
Let me preempt this because I always like to be an honest football fan. Like I don't like to be a stan or a homer and like always say the Eagles are good and always say the Cowboys are bad. The Cowboys are not a bad football team. They have a really good defense.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of guys in that front seven. Leighton Vander Esch is a beast. Byron Jones has turned into a shutdown corner. They could probably use a safety, but defense is like top 6 or 7 in the league all day. O-line is back to form. I'd say they're probably an above-average unit. They're not a great unit right now. Above average, though. If they ever get Travis Frederick back, they're going to go back to well above average. Zeke Elliott is elite. They got Amari Cooper now, who I think is like a B-plus to A-minus wide receiver. He is really good. He is number 1 all day.
He is not. Did you say he is not?
He is.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I still think he's a little. He's not great. I think he's a number 1. I don't think he's an elite.
He's a guy I would want in my offense, but he's not a guy like you can legitimately throw to all the time.
Let me say something real quick. This team is not as good. Listen, everybody wants Dallas to be good, like in the media and everything, because they always want to talk about them. So they're going to talk about them all the time. They've won 3 games in a row. I'll give you that. That is considered hot. Blah blah blah. Pull up their schedule real quick, and I want you to tell me one good team they beat this year. And then I want you to tell me teams that they've lost to.
Let me look it up.
Yep. I want you to, because I saw it the other day. There's a graphic. Hold on. I'm going to read it out loud. I got to go off the screen real quick. As I screen. Ready?
All right.
Ready. If the Cowboys win the division, this is the weakest playoff team that will enter. Their 5 wins are against teams that are 18 and 34. Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Listen to me.
The New York Giants aren't any good. Detroit's not any good. Jacksonville's not any good. Philadelphia, might be their best win. They're not any good.
And it was a win. I'll give them that. Everybody played well. It was a good win. I watched the whole thing, obviously.
Philadelphia, they can still make the playoffs, but they're not that great. Atlanta's terrible, and Washington would be their best win if Alex Smith was healthy, and he's not.
They lost to the Redskins when Alex Smith was healthy.
Yeah.
I was at the game. So, listen to me. They're not bad. They are getting a little hot, and they're playing a sustainable style of football. If you can run the ball and play good defense, you're always going to be in a game. You want to know why even if they make the playoffs, there's going to be this big of a gap between them and the good teams? Dak Prescott. He's average. I never want to say he sucks. He doesn't suck, because when things Because there's players in the NFL, even when they got a good running game and a good team around them, they still suck. Dak is pretty good when he has a really good team around him, but Dak's shown time and time and again, if Zeke isn't running for 130 yards, he's pretty much unusable.
I'd be interested to see him with a really good receiver. He was good but great with Dez Bryant. Then Dez Bryant takes a step back. Dak takes a step back. He took a step back this year even more without him. And then until they got Amari Cooper, then he starts to pick up the slack a little bit. But I'd love to see what he can do with a,
they got
top guy like Demaryius Thomas.
They got blown out by the Titans at home. Listen to me.
Yeah, that was their last loss before this 3-game win streak.
Who'd they beat again?
I have to pull it up, but I already.
They're gonna show you at home, mind you, with a good defense, how bad they're gonna get their fucking ass kicked by the Saints. And I think they'll.
This week I think the Saints are.
I think the Saints win by 10. Listen to me. There's Bill Parcells said. What's the Bill Parcells quote?
You know him better than I do, I think.
You are what your record says you are, and they're fucking 6-5. They're not that good. They are a 6-5 team.
3-0 in their last 3 games.
What were they before that? You sound like my buddy Garrett, dude. Garrett said they're going to beat the Saints this weekend.
No, I don't think so.
It'll
be competitive, but I don't see that. I don't see them winning that game.
It's insane to me that Cowboys fans have just seen what they've seen for the last 20 years.
I saw. I think you even liked it on Facebook. I saw a great meme, and it showed like Dallas Cowboys coming out of nowhere after winning 3 in a row, and it was a guy coming out of the sewer.
Yeah, like. Dude, it's unreal.
But no, I'm with you. They're playing a little better. I'll tip my hat to them.
I'll give them their credit.
And they made a nice move with Amari Cooper. I still think it was insane they gave up a first-round pick, but it's working out for them. At the end of the day, I do think they're going to win this division. They're just the best team right now. I won't be shocked if it's Philadelphia by the end of the year, but the Giants aren't even close. I don't think Washington's going to keep up with them now without Alex Smith.
I don't know if Skins win another game this year.
Really? I haven't seen their schedule, but I won't be shocked. I mean, what are they now? 6-5 technically, but I don't think that lasts.
Colt McCoy's bad, man. I thought people were saying he's a really formidable backup. I watched that whole game, dude. He's lost. Yeah. He can't compete, dude.
And that is another thing with Dallas. Their defense. Rob Marinelli's a great defensive coordinator. He's done wonders with this defense in the past. This is a legit defense now.
Yep, and I give them that.
Yeah, they still have some holes in the secondary, which that can be fixed. I mean, in the draft, this is I don't know. I don't think it's a great defensive back class, but they can find somebody.
Listen, when they go up against a team where it doesn't matter how good your defense is, because all the rules are scaled towards offense, and you're still going to score points, they're not going to be able to do it, dude. Because if you score 30 points, you will beat the Cowboys 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because they are not going to score more than 30 points on any team that's good. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I would agree with that. So another team that is also red hot is the New Orleans Saints. This team looks good, man. They destroyed your Eagles a few weeks ago.
They're dancing just like the Eagles were. It's their destiny team. Drew Brees is going to get another one and just put him right in that top 5 all time. It's going to cement him in there, and I'm happy for him. I hope they win.
I'm all for the Saints. You called it, and I'm pretty sure I had them in the playoffs. I didn't pick them to win their division. And I thought I had a legitimate reason because they were relying on too much youth, and boy, this youth is really good. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm cheering for Drew Brees. The only thing that annoys me with the Saints is now my dear friend, and I love him to death, Taylor Mason, huge Alabama Crimson Tide fan, huge New Orleans Saints fan. So not only do I have to hear it on Saturday about how great Alabama is, now I got to hear it on Sundays about how great New Orleans is, and that's the only thing that annoys me about the Saints right now.
He's a lot of fan this year. They're a good team. I love Drew Brees. I like the Saints as a team. I think they're cool. I like the Saints. I'm the best.
So another guy that is also red hot. I mostly just went with people who are red hot or teams. Baker Mayfield. Have you seen his numbers since Hugh Jackson got fired?
9 TDs, 1 pick.
It was something like that. Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, but
encyclopedia, baby.
You're all over it. I'm really shocked, and this kind of brings us to our poll question. The Browns are playing better since Greg Williams took over. I don't know their record. I feel like they've won a game. Definitely they won last week. I feel like they've won another game since. But do you think Greg Williams will be the head coach of Cleveland next year?
Do I think he will be, or do I think he should be?
No, will be, not should be.
No.
You still don't think so? I'm almost 50-50 on it. I'm like 51% no, 49% yes. Depends on how they finish the year.
Dude, they see what the Saints,
I'll change my mind. Not 51-49. I'll say like 60-40 no. 60-40 no to yes. If they keep winning, though, I'm going to be about 50-50.
Yeah, I don't think it's like no shot or anything. I think they see where the league's headed, and they need an offensive guy for Baker. They need somebody to go in there and really give him a scheme. Now, could they keep Greg Williams and get like the top OC candidate or something like that?
I think for sure whoever they bring in, they have to keep Greg Williams. I mean, he's already been a proven good defensive coordinator. I think you got to keep him because that defense the future looks bright with that defense. I mean, Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward's come along. They have some dudes on that defense. They just need some guys on the back end.
Agreed.
And so right now we already kind of touched up on this with Drew Brees, and he's one of them. Who is your who is your NFL MVP this season?
It's Drew Brees, but the way people are just dismissing Patrick Mahomes is so ridiculous. Like,
see, I'm the same way, but with Andrew Luck.
I'm an Andrew Luck guy, and people call me an idiot for it. I freaking love Andrew Luck. He's killing it. But
I still can't believe the doubters with Andrew Luck. I mean, especially this year.
He didn't start hot enough for me, and I know it's pretty much how you finish the season when you can sort of like seal off an MVP. But I don't think Brees or Mahomes has done anything to fall off of that. I think if anything, Luck just came up to them. Like, they were already up here. So, like, I can't really give it to him yet. Even though if we're talking about, like, I never know what the MVP means. Is it the best? I always say it's the best player of the year. Yeah. But if it's really going off the most valuable player, it is Andrew Luck.
Yeah. This Andrew
Luck is the only good player on that team. The Saints would still be an above 500 football team without Drew Brees, I think. Because they just have his roster right now. They have the best O-line in the league. 1-2 punch at running back. They have a true number one wide receiver. They have a shutdown corner. They have good decent defensive line with Cam Jordan.
I would agree with that. I think that's a good take. They would be around 6-5, I think.
With Teddy Bridgewater, I think that they could win 7. I think they could go 7-9 right now. The Saints team.
I would agree with that.
But Teddy Bridgewater on the Colts, they're going to win 2 games with this roster.
I don't know about 2-14, but it's a much better roster than it has been in the past.
Okay, it's a young roster and a lot of young players.
That offensive line has turned around like that.
I know.
And amazing what you do when you draft an offensive lineman in the first 2 rounds. He hasn't, as far as I know, he still hasn't been sacked in the last 5 games. It may have happened over the weekend.
He got sacked once.
Did he? Okay. Well, still, that's one time in 5 or 6 games. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So
let me give some props to real quick. I think Jared Goff is a beast, and I think has the 3rd best arm in the NFL. Let's go.
3rd best arm?
Wow. Not cannon-wise. I'm just talking thrower of the football. I think there's 3 guys in the league that have a wrist flick, and the ball just fucking jumps off their hand. Obviously, it's Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and you have Jared Goff. Dude, he hands the ball off when he throws it.
I agree with that. When I saw his tape, just obviously it's not identical to Rodgers, but it was Rodgers-esque. I mean, just the way he moved and the way the ball came off his hand.
Watch other quarterbacks. I mean, Carson Wentz. Who's a bigger Carson Wentz fan than me? It looks way harder for Carson Wentz to throw a football than it does those 3 guys. It looks like those guys literally just move their hand and the ball fucking flies off their hand. It's insane. Yeah. Dak Prescott, same way. Watch Dak Prescott throw. Big wind-up motion and shit like that. It's like, dude, those dudes don't do that. Yeah. They really don't.
I agree. So, anyway, my pick, I am going to say Drew Brees as well, but I feel like Andrew Luck needs more attention, man. I'm all in on Andrew Luck. I love me some Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck's my boy.
Hey, we were. I also want to mention this. We were the only 2 people, I think, who have not, one, given up on Jim Harbaugh and have not given up on Andrew Luck. We stuck the course, and we are being proven right this year.
Yep, he's a beast. He's going to win an MVP within the next few years. Let him get healthy. Let that rock. Chris Ballard is their GM now. They're going to have a good team in a few years. They're going to have a really good team.
Yep. But it's not all good news. We do have to face the music, and me especially. Our teams suck, man. Yeah. They are not good. Well, and I'll let you go first with your Eagles because I don't even know what to say about my Packers.
So I never like to blame the injury bug. The Eagles have a lot of injuries. I wouldn't say that's why they're a 5-6 team. Bro, they got complacent this offseason, and it was so obvious at the beginning of the season, and I think they're finally starting to come around mentally, but now their roster's so depleted that I don't think they can compete anymore. Dude, I'll give you a perfect example of the fact that the whole team just didn't work as hard this summer. Lane Johnson allowed 1 sack last year in 16 games, which is an unreal stat. 1 sack. He was first-team All-Pro. He allowed 2 sacks week 1. Tells you all you need to know. They all drank their own Kool-Aid. They put up Super Bowl banners. You know, everybody told them how great they were, and you can just tell, dude, they just came out flat. Carson still is not 100%. You can just tell. I'd say he's probably 85.
He looks good. He looks solid. There are moments though, and I haven't really watched him a ton this year, but I know enough. He just doesn't look like he completely trusts that leg.
And you know what? I'm going to give it to him when he needs it. He's not playing well right now. I mean, he's not playing as well as he could be playing. Like, I would say in general, I don't think he's playing horrible for an NFL.
I mean, he was the MVP last year before getting hurt.
And he's just and he was up until the last few weeks. I mean, he was the only one on the whole team that was performing up until the last couple of weeks. But, man, listen, I blame a lot of it on Doug Peterson. The team looks vanilla as shit, and I don't get it. How? We weren't vanilla last year. What's wrong? Jim Schwartz, I don't want to get rid of him because he's a really, really good defensive coordinator. He really is. I don't think we could replace him with somebody better, to be honest with you. But he's so stubborn, dude. And he doesn't care if a play beats him all day. He'll keep running that defense, and it pisses me off, dude. The end of the game. Did you watch the Giants-Eagles game?
I haven't watched much this year.
There's a play. Almost at the end of the game where, like, our 5th-string cornerback, I'm not even exaggerating, he's a practice squad player, was covering Odell Beckham on, like, the 12. And apparently the guy held him, and it should have been a penalty, and they didn't call it. Whatever. It ended up being an incomplete pass. They kicked the field goal. He had a dude named Cravon LeBlanc on an island, one-on-one with Odell Beckham.
I've heard of him. He was in Chicago. He was with the Chicago Bears a few years ago, and I remember Jordy Nelson torching him to set up a game-winning field goal in Soldier Field a few years ago.
Cravon LeBlanc one-on-one with Odell. Like, I don't know, man. I think it's honestly a combination of like 10 different things, each taking 10% of the blame, and it's just all piling up. And they're going to be a 500 football team. They're going to go 8-8.
Yeah, I mean, they're not out of the playoffs yet. But yeah, they've been a little disappointing. I don't know with the Eagles. Like, I've tried to figure it out.
Me too, dude.
Wentz hasn't been bad. The offensive line's not bad. They are banged up, but I don't know.
We lost to Jai and Wallace, and that literally took away our deep threat and our running back. So it's like now everything is like short and intermediate passing game with Carson, and it's so obvious what they're going to do. They run these shits to Zach. That's why Zach Ertz has like 90 receptions right now.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So I can't avoid it any longer. I do have to talk about my Packers. I
don't get it, dude.
I am at a loss for words. I finally have to bite the bullet. I said for the first few weeks, I'm like, oh, just some new faces trying to work in. They'll figure this out. And
it was me with the Eagles. Every week I was just like, dude, we're going to get it together. And then we were up 17 on the Panthers, and I was like, finally, dude, going to beat the shit out of a good team. We're going to be back on track. Lost that game, and I said after that, I was like, this team's not even going to make the playoffs. I knew it.
Yeah, I usually point the finger. Not point the finger is a bad word to say, or not the right thing to say. But usually in the past, you can say the injury bug in Green Bay, and that's still the case this year. But I'm not going to use that as an excuse because there are other issues. But then you could say the defense in Green Bay was the issue. It really hasn't been this year. Mike Pettin, I don't know what he did. What'd you do?
My bad. Sorry.
Okay. It's throwing me off. I don't know if you're there or not. So, like I said, usually you can point to the defense and say, well, the defense is giving up 30 points a game. That's not the case this year. They're banged up right now, so they're not playing very well. But when they were healthy, this was a decent unit. Mike Pettin's done a pretty good job as defensive coordinator. Jair Alexander is a beast in the secondary. They have no pass rush, though, and they're still finding ways to get to the quarterback. They're still being effective. They have no inside linebackers outside of Blake Martinez, and he's been banged up. He's out there on with all sorts of injuries. Mike Daniels is now down, so they're missing some dudes, and they're still playing pretty well. I mean, giving up 24 points to the Vikings, that's winnable when you got Aaron Rodgers. But I can't. This is for the first time ever. Like I can't look at anyone else but Aaron Rodgers and be like, I don't know what's going on, man. Like,
gotta pick it up, dude.
Gotta pick it up, man. And he looks like he's done. Not done forever, but like he looks like he's done with this team, this system. He wants a change, and I think he's not. I don't think he cares until it's made, and that's unfortunate because I have higher expectations for him than that.
Dude,
I'll say this: done isn't the right word. He's checked out.
Checked. I knew that's what you meant by that. Yeah. Dude, I don't blame him.
Yeah, I don't either.
Packers have not taken care of him outside of money, which any team's going to make him the highest paid player in the league, and it sucks, dude, because the Packers are a good organization, and I get the draft and develop thing, but like, dude, people want to play with Aaron Rodgers, and like when Aaron Rodgers isn't there, dude, you're not going to be able to get a free agent because nobody wants to go to fucking Green Bay, Wisconsin, dude. Like, you could get free agents over the last 5 or 6 years, and you guys should have just did what the Rams did, dude. Like, just go all out, like spend every fucking dime you have.
I'm not a fan of that, but dude. I'm all for being aggressive. I'm not all for trading away every asset you have.
You guys have had the exact same team for 5 years.
I know. I hear you.
Fucking team, dude. They're doing the same offense and getting the same result, and I hate it because I love Aaron Rodgers, dude. I love him so much, and I honestly don't think he's going to win another Super Bowl. I don't think he's going to have one, and I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be remembered as being a huge talent who underachieved.
I need at least 2 more years with this new front office. I need 2 more years until I officially. I'm not far from that take, though. I'm not sure, but I'm not far from where you are. I need at least 2 more off seasons before I see what this front office can do, because I like what they did this off season. That this draft has worked out for the most part. Jair Alexander's pretty good, but that's kind of about it. But that's where they needed to fill their biggest weakness from last year. They signed some other dudes, and secondary was the biggest weakness last year, and it's not the issue this year.
Exactly. You guys have drafted decently too. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think it's the system. Chris Sims said it best on Sunday night, Football Night in America. They're playing. I mean, everyone else is playing algebra or calculus, and Green Bay is playing just regular algebra.
Can I just say something? Nah, that wasn't. I seen you retweet that. So like, I had this thick ass like the lead that you sent me, and I'm like, damn, Shane, like, how the fuck are we gonna talk about all this? I get to the second page and I realize I just printed it 3 fucking times and they're all stapled together. Because I was sitting here, I was like, damn, Shane, we're on the second page, dude, and I feel like we've been on this for an hour. Like, this is gonna take forever. And I split
was about to say it wasn't that. It didn't feel like it was that much.
No, it wasn't at all. Sorry, go ahead.
But no, I've given McCarthy a pass before. I've always believed that him and Rodgers were great. They were just carrying an average coaching staff and roster. I still think for the most part that's the case, but I can't make excuses anymore. McCarthy, a change has to be made. I think McCarthy's done. He's done in Green Bay after this year.
Yes, done in Green Bay. I think he can go be a very good head coach somewhere else. I think he's a great head coach, but I think he's the type of head coach who needs 2 good coordinators.
I think he needs a year off. Just regroup.
Doug Peterson is a coach who needs 2 good coordinators, as you can fucking see, because now he doesn't have a good offensive coordinator anymore, and he looks like an idiot.
I think McCarthy, honestly, I think he needs to just step away. Get away from it for about a year, come back, rejuvenate. Kind of like Mike Pettin. Mike Pettin needed 2 years to regroup, and then now he's back, and he's doing well with the Packers and our defense. So I think that'd be best for McCarthy. I don't think he'll do that, but like I said, I still think he's a good coach. I mean, you can't deny his resume, but when you got Aaron Rodgers, you got to win. And I'm not excusing Aaron either. I'm like, every time I see him, I'm like, dude, you got to pick this shit up, man. You're the leader of this team, and you're just kind of shrugging at everything.
Listen, man, it's like every 8, 9, 10, like, you need to just redo your shit. Like, unless you're Bill Belichick, like, you shouldn't have a head coach over 10 years.
Like, everyone has said, I think you even said it, rebuild. That's not the right word in Green Bay. It's revamp with Aaron Rodgers.
You need to regroup. Like,
revamp.
The team. The players are there. You have the decent enough team. Like, Devontae Adams is a number 1, guaranteed. Still
Give
think you
Aaron
got-
Jones the fucking ball.
I was-
Give
I was-
Aaron Jones the fucking ball. That's all I want. And they're finally doing it after trading away Ty Montgomery. But anyway, so poll question: which of our NFL teams do you think is most likely to make the playoffs? I mean, I have to say the Eagles.
It is the Eagles, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's not because they're like a way better team or anything like that. So we're a game out of first. Right now, the Cowboys play the Saints this week. I'm gonna go ahead and say there's at least an 80% chance that that's an L. So let's just chalk that up for the L. Cowboys will be 6-6. This week we play the Redskins at home on Monday night.
Unless something drastic happens, I think that's a win.
That's a dub. So we are going to be playing Dallas in Dallas, mind you, and I do think we will lose that game almost guaranteed. But we're going to be playing Dallas for the division lead in 2 weeks.
If they win that game, they're winning the division.
I was about to say, whoever wins that game is going to win the division. That's how it's going to go.
I agree.
So,
but I've seen nothing from my Packers that makes me think they're going to turn this around.
You saw the graphic about what has to happen for them.
Yeah, and I sent it to you. It basically said, for those that haven't seen it, it said 4 out of these 5 things, or no, including Green Bay winning out, 4 of these 5 things has to happen. It was like Carolina has to win 3, or has to lose 2 games. The Vikings have to lose 2 games. Seahawks have to lose 3 games. Redskins have to lose 3 games. And I'm like, oh my God, this isn't happening. And then one of the Packers beat writers I follow on Twitter, commented on it and said, not only is it sad that this has to happen, but it's sad someone put this together.
Yeah.
So I thought that was brilliant. But hey, I will say this: I thought this way 2 years ago when Green Bay was 4-6. I was like, I see nothing from this team that makes me think they're going to turn it around, and they do it. They did it the next week. So last time I was this way, I mean, they turned it around, but I don't see it happening.
No, me neither.
Sorry, so let's get into some picks for the college football weekend. We have not done this in a long time, but believe me, we are keeping up with this. I text you every week the matchups and who to pick and etc. We're keeping up with our records. But so we're going to start in college, where you are coming off a very good week, 9-3. You're crushing it in college. You have me by 5 games. You're at 111-45. I'm at 106-50. I'm coming off an 8-4 week, but we don't have very many matchups this weekend. It's mostly just the conference championship. But we're going to start with the Pac-12 championship on Friday night. Really not a great matchup. I mean, Utah and Washington, both 3-loss teams. Washington is a 5.5-point favorite.
I feel like I want to take Utah there.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna go upset Utah.
Really?
Cushion. Yeah, I got some cushion. I'm gonna go upset there.
I'm not feeling it. I'm gonna go with Washington. That's a pretty convincing win over Washington State in the Apple Cup, who's a very good team.
Very good win, very good team, and everything like that. It was. I think if it wasn't absolutely pouring rain, Washington State would have won. Or snow, yeah. I mean, yeah. It was very inclement weather. They also didn't they score twice on defense too, just like Oklahoma
that sounds
did.
right. Yeah,
I know they scored once, so it's just like I think the Cougars would have won that game. And I hate saying that, woulda, shoulda, coulda, shit, but I don't think Washington's that good of a football team.
No, when inclement weather, I mean, Mike Leach is an air raid guy like Dana Holgorsen, except Dana Holgorsen runs the ball and Mike Leach won't. Exactly my point. If it's inclement weather, Mike Leach has no chance because all he wants to do is throw the ball. And Washington is at least balanced with Myles Gaskin at running back. So Big 12 championship, the game we should be in. It still pains me to say it. But we got Texas and Oklahoma. Oklahoma is actually an 8-point favorite last I checked.
I would take Oklahoma with the points.
Yeah, I think I'm going to hammer Oklahoma here. I think Oklahoma is going to drub Texas. I really do. Texas hasn't looked good. I know they're showing good signs. They talked about it last week. They're winning when they're playing bad, and that is a good sign for the program. But Ellinger's banged up. They're not looking great offensively. Their defense is getting better, but I mean, Kyler Murray, they got the vengeance factor. They got the better coach. They got the better athletes. They got the better quarterback. This feels like a Sooner drubbing to me.
Yes.
A game no one matters, but I wanted to get to an even number 8. So we got Stanford at Cal. Stanford's a 2.5-point favorite. A team that is disappointed as well.
Stanford at Cal. I'll take Stanford, I guess. Fuck it.
Yeah, I don't know much about Cal. They got a pretty good defense, but I'm going to take Stanford. I like David Shaw.
Yeah.
AAC championship, Memphis versus UCF. UCF without Mackenzie Milton might get interesting.
I'll still take UCF.
Yeah, I'm close to an upset here.
So am I.
It's one thing, to lose your quarterback mid-game when you're up like 17-0, like they were last week, and that you can get away with that. But new game, backup quarterback, 0-0 to start the game. I mean, I could see an upset, but I'm going to go UCF as well.
I also think they'll play for him, which will give them a huge spark. We'll see. I do think UCF still pulls that off.
Yeah, they got the better athletes. I think they get it done. Mountain West Championship, Fresno State versus Boise State. Boise State a 2.5-point favorite. Winner of this game will go to a New Year's Six bowl if UCF loses.
Which is very possible. Damn, that's going to be terrible if Fresno State goes to a New Year's Six bowl. I'm going to be so pissed off at that. I got Boise there.
Yeah, I can't have Fresno State in a New Year's Six bowl and West Virginia not.
That would piss me
I can
off.
at least respect Boise State. I'm going with the Broncos.
They're respectable.
Yeah. ACC championship. Talk about a game that I have
Clemson.
I'm fucking pissed off. I can't believe Pitt is the representing a division in the ACC championship. But Clemson, I shouldn't even have said their name. I'm going with Clemson. I might even take Clemson in the points, but 27.5 is a lot.
No, Pitt's better than that. I don't think they'll beat them by 28 points, but yeah, they're gonna kick this shit out of Pitt.
Big Ten championship, Northwestern versus Ohio State. I gotta be honest, Northwestern might sneak up on them. Pat Fitzgerald, very good coach.
The Ohio State University.
Yeah, there is no line on this game as far as I know, but I will go with Ohio State as well. I don't think Northwestern has enough horses offensively to exploit Ohio State's defense. Game of the week, though, Alabama-Georgia SEC Championship. Alabama's actually, I'm surprised by this line a little bit, a 13.5-point favorite.
They'll cover that.
You really think so?
They're going to kick the shit out of Georgia. Tua hasn't played a full game.
You love Tua. I like Tua, too.
He's the man. Dude, do you see his deep balls?
Oh, yeah. He throws a beautiful ball. I love it.
Beautiful deep ball. Dude, it is insane.
If he were 2 inches taller.
And he wasn't left-handed.
Yeah,
I would never
first round, like, number one overall pick.
Whole offense around.
They wouldn't sniff Will Grier in the first round next year. They'd be trying to tank for Tua next year. But anyway, so I'm going to go with Alabama as well. I think Georgia keeps it somewhat close. I'm going to say Bama by, like, 11. Like 34-23. Maybe something like that. NFL. So NFL is the opposite of college. I'm doing very well in the NFL. I'm coming off a 13-2 week. I'm 113, 61-2 overall for the season. That's probably one of my best seasons so far. I've kept track of these the last 4 years. That's probably one of my better ones so far. You are having a respectable year. Coming off 11-4 last week. 105, 69-2 on the year. Any other year you might have me beat, but I'm doing pretty well. And I think you said, I'm crushing college, and I responded, NFL's where it's at, though. But Thursday night game, Saints at the Cowboys. Saints are a 7.5-point favorite.
I got Saints.
I'm going to say Saints as well, and I think they cover.
I don't think they cover. 7.5. I don't think that. I think they win by 7.
I'll say Saints by 8 or 9. Okay. Ravens at Falcons. Falcons a 1-point favorite. That's a little surprising. No one likes the Ravens. They've won 2 in a row, and they're still saying fire John Harbaugh. I don't get it.
I'll take the Falcons.
You're going with the Falcons?
They're not playing sustainable football, bro. Lamar Jackson is running the ball 15 times a game. He's going to get broken in half.
No, that I agree with.
1 touchdown and 3 interceptions throwing the ball. Like, it's not sustainable. They're not going to do it. They're playing football right now. Not going to work.
So are the Falcons.
But the Falcons still have weapons that are scary. I think in that dome, I think that they're going to score some points. I got the Falcons there.
I think I'm going to go Ravens right now. Falcons have too many injuries. I like the Ravens defense. Falcons can't score in the red zone. Broncos at the Bengals. Broncos a 5-point favorite.
Dalton's out. I'm going Broncos.
Dalton's out? Yeah, Broncos then.
He's out for the year.
Oh, is he? I missed that. Really? Okay. Wow. Oh no, that's right. Yeah, because Jeff Driscoll came in the game. That's right. Rams at the Lions. Rams a 10-point favorite.
Rams.
Yeah, Rams coming off a bye. I mean, I know it's West Coast to East Coast that sometimes can be troublesome, but they're coming off a bye week. They got the superior coach. Yeah,
in a dome.
Yeah, and in a dome, they ought to be fine. Cardinals at the Packers. This line shocks me. Packers a 14-point favorite against Arizona.
Yeah, you'll do that.
No. Zero faith in that happening.
Packers.
I'm going with the Packers, but I say by like a touchdown. They're going to screw around and find a way to lose, or find a way to keep it close. Bills at Dolphins. Dolphins a 4.5-point favorite.
That's the worst game of all time. I'll go Dolphins.
Yeah, I have no faith in the Bills. I'm going Dolphins as well. Bears at the Giants.
Bears are going to kick the shit out of the Giants.
Yeah, Bears are coming off 10 weeks to prepare, or 10 days to prepare. That defense is going to eat, I think, the Giants' offense.
They absolutely are.
Panthers at the Bucks. Panthers a 3.5-point favorite.
The Bucks are the most confusing team in the NFL because at any point they can score 45 points.
Yep.
Panthers are reeling, dude. I don't know. I kind of want to an upset here. I gotta try to catch up to you. Who are you taking?
I'll be honest. I think I'm leaning Bucks.
I am too, dude.
Panthers are not playing well. Like, they're playing well, but they're finding ways to lose.
I'll go Panthers then.
I'm going Bucks. I think they pull it off.
Yeah,
but it seems like every time I pick the Bucks, they lose, and then when I pick them the next week, they lose, or when I pick them, they lose. When I pick against them, they win.
They're so confusing, dude.
Where was I? Colts at the Jags. Colts are a 4-point favorite.
Colts are gonna beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, I think Colts by like two or three possessions. Jags are not good.
They're playing too.
That's another team that you really liked. I did not at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I did. I'll admit it. They have a great roster. How can you not?
They didn't play anyone last year. All the quarterbacks in the division got hurt.
Outside of they remind me of Dallas. Outside of the quarterback, they're really, really solid team.
Browns at the Texans. Texans a 5.5-point favorite.
Texans.
Yeah, I'll take Texans as well. I think Texans by a touchdown, maybe a little bit more. Jets at the Titans. Titans a 7.5-point favorite.
Titans.
I don't see the Jets making a game out of that. Chiefs at Raiders. Chiefs a 15-point favorite. That's one of the highest lines I've seen in a long. I don't even think it's. You say highest or largest? Largest lines. Okay.
Big, yeah, lines.
Yeah. I think the Chiefs win and cover. Mm-hmm. Raiders can't stop their offense. Vikings at the Patriots. Patriots a 5-point favorite. This is tough.
I think the Vikings got a really good shot, dude.
Patriots are winning, but it feels like they're just going through the motions. They weren't great last week coming off a bye.
I'll go Patriots at Foxborough only because it's in Foxborough. I would 1,000% pick the Vikings if it was in Minnesota. I wanted to take the Vikings. Dude, you can't ever pick against the Pats in Foxborough. I just can't do it. It's just not smart of me to do.
I'm really flirting with the Vikings, but I think I got to agree with you. I'm going to go with Patriots at home. But I think Patriots by a field goal. I think the Vikings cover. 49ers at Seahawks. Seahawks a 9.5-point favorite.
Got Seahawks.
Yeah, I don't see the Seahawks are playing well. I don't see the 49ers keeping up. Chargers at the Steelers. Steelers a 3.5-point favorite.
Steelers are pissed, I think. I'll go Steelers.
They always seem to play well at home. So I think I'll go Steelers as well. I don't like doing it, but they seem to play well at home.
That's a matchup where you just kind of got to pick the home team, honestly.
Yeah. So Redskins at the Eagles. We both kind of said this, but Eagles a 6.5-point favorite.
I'll definitely take the Eagles. The Eagles should win this game. Believe me, if they lost this game, I wouldn't be surprised with how they played this year.
I'm going the Eagles as well.
You're like, how do you lose that game? Blah, blah, blah. Come on here and be calm because They should win the game because we have better players right now because they have a lot of players hurt, but would not surprise me one bit.
Yeah. Going Eagles as well. They might even win by a lot. So, mixing things up now, we talked all football, but MLB free agency is going on. We can touch up on this for a little bit. Josh Donaldson is the biggest domino to fall right now. Signed a 1-year deal with the Atlanta Braves, heading home. I don't think he's from Alabama, but I know he went to Auburn, just an hour and a half away in Atlanta. Kind of an interesting move. Atlanta, very young team. Now they get a big bat in that lineup.
It's funny. I thought this was like a huge pickup because a lot of my friends are Braves fans and I'm a Phillies fan, so we like kind of talk shit to each other. And self-admittedly, I don't keep up with baseball anymore like I used to. And I thought that was like a really, really good signing. And my friend lectured me for like 45 minutes about how Josh Donaldson can't hit a fastball anymore, and it was a terrible pickup. So I don't know. It's a big name.
It's a big name for sure. I mean, he was AL MVP a few years ago.
He used to be a really good player. I honestly haven't watched enough baseball to tell you if he is still now, but it is still a cool trade, even if it's like a veteran. You always like seeing people get traded. By the way, Kyle Korver just got traded to the Jazz.
Kyle Korver. I feel like I should know who that is.
And I'm really pissed because I want him to come to the Sixers. He's just the 3-point dude.
Kyle Korver, yeah.
He used to play with AI on the Sixers back in the day.
Who cares? I don't give a shit about the NBA. I really don't.
I do.
Until playoff time, don't even bother. I don't even bother with the NBA. But so the biggest domino that has yet to fall is obviously Bryce Harper. Your Phillies, one of the top teams that are kind of in the mix to get him.
So take the Nationals off that because he's leaving the Nationals.
I just have the Nationals on there.
No, you don't have to take it off. I just meant as of how.
Yeah, so this is our poll question. Where do you think Bryce Harper will end up? I just have the Nationals on there because that's essentially the first team he was with.
Cross the Nationals out. They have no shot. The Yankees obviously have a shot at everyone. I don't see the Yankees giving Bryce Harper a very, very long-term deal like he wants. He's going to want like an 8-year deal, and I just don't see the Yankees doing that after the A-Rod thing.
I'll be honest with the Yankees. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but with the Yankees, I feel like the front office has changed. If it were a decade ago, they would pay that money, but they've done so well with kind of just we're going to build internally now, and I just don't think they have that mindset anymore. I think they'll probably get Machado maybe. They'll spend money for him, but I don't think they're going to spend a ton of money for Harper. I'm losing you. Oh no.
Chris Bryant and Bryce Harper are like best friends. So that could mean something. Like they have the money, they're a really good young team. I can see him going to the Cubs, but I'm not just saying this because I'm a Phillies fan. I genuinely think he comes to the Phillies. We could literally write him a blank check. We could write like 3 blank checks, and they're going to. We're going to get a couple big name free agents. I don't know if it'll be Machado and Harper. I would put money that we get Harper. And I think they're going to get another really good starting pitcher here soon.
Really?
I do. Their own spending this offseason, or his backwards, and we don't have any players under contract besides like 3.
Yeah, I might actually agree with you. I think LA is one of the top people to get him as well.
I could see that. That I could see as well. It's LA. I mean, Bryce Harper just screams Los Angeles when you look at him.
Yeah. But like I said, I don't think he's going to the Nationals. They can't afford him, and he just passed on a $300 million deal, I think, over 10 years. Yeah. They can't afford it anymore. If he's not taking that, he's not going to take any deal. Like I said, the Yankees, if it were a decade ago, I think they would. But with his new regime, I don't think so. Cubs,
maybe.
I don't know with the Cubs. Maybe I just don't see them opening up the checkbook that much. They still got some talent there. Maybe they give it another year, but that's a team that has really disappointed since winning that World Series. I think I got to go with Phillies. I mean, those were some of the top teams. Phillies right now, I think, are in a good spot. They have the money. It's somewhat of an attractive destination. Will he leave for a fellow NL East division rival? Who knows?
I think you.
Who knows?
Because it's not football. It's not football,
dude. And he has pretty much made it seem like he wants the money. And Phillies right now are in a spot to get him. along with the Yankees, but I don't think the Yankees are going to do it.
No, exactly.
So that's about it. Do you want to touch up on this Game of Thrones thing? I mean, that's weeks old at this point.
I mean, I'm excited for it. That's what you want to know.
Yeah, that's really pretty much all I wanted to say. I just have it on here because I was running out of topics, but...
Oh, so excited.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I'm sad. Just, it's over, man. It's over. So, final thoughts. Do you got anything?
Yeah, I'm really pissed in hindsight that we traded a third-round pick for Golden Tate. I think Golden Tate is an awful player. I think he is worth a third round. We just not using him right. It's going to end up being an 8-game rental for nothing for a third-round pick. Just seeing how, Eagles they're going to be like the Packers. They're not rebuilding. They have still a good core, but there's going to be a lot of turnover on that team next year. That team's going to look very different week one next year, and we could have used that third-round pick. That could have went towards an offensive lineman, almost a day-one starter right there if you get a third-round lineman. So, I don't know, man. And looking like it could end up being a decently high pick with how shitty the Eagles are. So.
Yeah, I got some stuff to say, just off the top of my head. And we already kind of touched up on it. Just, I'm bummed. I'm bummed that the Will Grier era is over in West Virginia. I had been looking forward to this for years. When he was transferring out of Florida, then he came here. I'm like, oh my God, we could be so good. And then he was great. I mean, like you said, it's no fault of his own that we were only 15-6 with him. And we're only going to walk away with 8 wins. But it's just a bummer, man. We give Skylar Howard 2 of the best defenses we've had since joining the Big 12. And we can't field a decent, a really good one with Will Grier. Just a damn shame.
Yeah. I know. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if we could have combined all the teams from the last 3 eras, like the Geno Smith, Skylar Howard, Trent Pickett?
Because Alabama has that every fucking year.
I know.
But a lot of fans are butthurt with Holgorsen. Who else are you gonna get, man?
No, but Holgorsen is exactly. We're not gonna get a better coach than Holgorsen. So
I said if this were 5 years ago, yeah, I mean you could make an argument to get rid of him, but. I've sent this to my dad and my brother. Since that 4-8 season when we were there, he's been solid.
Very solid.
7-6 when no one gave us a chance to do anything in 2014. Then we were at 8-5. It was a little disappointing because we had a great defense that year, but Skylar Howard sucked and the offense wasn't very good. We were finished 8-5, which is a disappointment, like I said. But you increase your win total from the previous year, which is what at the end of the day, that's the goal every year.
Exactly.
And then 2016, out of nowhere, we won 10 games. So, again, you increase your win total. You get to 10 games. I mean, that's the goal every year. Following year, though, we take a slight step back. We go 7-6. But you factor in our defense wasn't very good. One of the worst we've had. Grier breaks his finger. We had a chance to win 10 games. I'm not saying we would have. We probably would have finished about 9-4 if he had been healthy. But we had a chance to win 10 games with him. This year, had some blown opportunities, but we were, 7 points away from being 10-1. I'll give Iowa State all the credit in the world. That was an all-time defensive performance, but we were 7 points away from being 10-1 and being regular season Big 12 champs.
Fuck that, dude. It pisses me off thinking about it. The fact that we lost to Iowa State and lost up 17 to Okie State.
No, I hear you with Iowa State. We shouldn't lose to them. But, I mean, they were pretty good, but...
Against Oklahoma this week, dude. Could have benched... I mean, obviously they wouldn't have done that, but we could have benched Oklahoma, and still went to the Big 12 championship, and we would have kicked Texas's ass, in my opinion.
Yeah, but all the people who are tired of Holgorsen, I'm like, dude, you're crazy. Plus, even though this year was disappointed, you increased your win total from the previous year, from last year. 7 to 8 wins, maybe 9 in the bowl game. And guess what? If we had played the NC State game, we probably would have won. We could be looking at 10 wins again. So at the end of the day, I think if you look back, if I had told you before the season we would finish 10-3, would you have taken that? Yeah, I would have too. That was my prediction. I thought we would finish 10-3.
Can't beat that.
I thought the defense was slightly better than I expected, but I don't get it, man. These fans drive me nuts sometimes.
Upsetting, man. It's upsetting.
Yeah. Sure. But all right, I'll let you go. We've been at this for an hour and a half. Wow. Roughly.
Good to see you, buddy.
Absolutely. We're going to try to get more content out. Just crazy busy. Hopefully this is back to our weekly trend, at least for the foreseeable future.
Yes, sir. All right, Shane. I'll see you later, buddy.
All right, man. Absolutely. Take